how you doing? Kevin Moloney from the Moloney Method. Today's subject is going to be R.O.M, range of motion. One of the major things that you have to be totally aware of to make gains and avoid frustration. Basically, range of motion is getting the full length of the muscle and creating flexibility in the joint. An example would be if you're doing a barbell curl, you would finish with your arms straight. You would bring it up for the contraction all the way up. Partial movements are different, okay? The big thing about range of the total range to move the muscle is that you're working the joints more, okay? You're getting more muscle work and you're working the joints. One of the reasons people don't do full range of motion, and again it comes into the psyche of people, they'll walk into a gym and they'll see people doing these big numbers, lifting these big numbers. And in their mind, they want to lift those numbers or they want to be close to those numbers. They do not factor in the other major point about lifting heavy weights, which is leverage. They never factor in. That's how we built the pyramids. Leverage is one of the most powerful forces to the movement of weight. That is different than true strength. There may be a person who moves less weight on the number, but is actually stronger because he or she is put together differently. So the problem is when you do full range of movement, full range of motion, you're going to move less weight. There's no two ways about it. So if you go into a gym and you see someone moving these big numbers and you don't realize that they are put together differently than you, they can get full range of movement different than you. They're shorter, their elbows are in a different place, their knees are in a different place, everything's different. So you see that, and what you do is you attempt to get close to the number they're moving, and you don't do the full range. Because if you do the full range, you won't even be close to what they are doing. So, what you have to put in your mind, is full range means less weight, okay? Less weight. You have to put in your mind the benefits are tremendous. When you do partial movements, you get no benefits for your joint flexibility. You get no benefits for your balance, the way you move efficiently through the world. Zero, okay? You take, for instance, a squat. People, okay, tall people, when they look and have to do a full range, there's a tremendous amount of feet they go down. I'm a tall guy, so for me to really get down here, I am in a terrible leverage position. But by doing that and coming all the way up, I work my feet, my ankles, my knees. The flexibility is tremendously improved. As opposed to if I look at a guy, a shorter guy, who's doing a full range of movement, and he's doing 300 pounds, but he's actually like a piston going up and down. I'm working as much muscle as I can work. He's working as much muscle as he can work, but he's built differently. So your number, you got to put in your mind, if your leverage is not good and you're doing full range of movement, you are getting stronger, but you're not going to get the big numbers. You will never ever see an NBA basketball player squatting big numbers with full movements. But what you will get is tremendously strong, because when you do full range, the top, every part of the muscle is worked. We've all heard the saying, you are as strong as your weakest link, okay? That being said, within the framework of that, you can, as a little aside, work partial range of motion. An example of working partial range of motion and getting something out of it is what we call pulses, okay? Pulses, again, to use the squat as an example, are you get into a short range of movement, but you never take the stress off, okay? You never, so you're like a pulse. You're going up and down, and you do that for high reps. What the pulses do is it floods your thigh or whatever you're working with blood, bringing the growth with it, okay? Bringing all these good nutrients with it, okay? Different type of movement, but it's only working part of the thigh. Your entire base, you have to, your entire program has to be based on full range of motion, okay? Particularly as you go through life. Because if you get off balance and you're lifting heavier weights, but you're not actually lifting through the full range, you will get stronger in one area of what you're working, and you will get weaker in the other area that you're working. There's no question then you are setting yourself up for injury, okay? Philosophically, a person who gets into strength training has to, number one, leave their ego at the door. Understand certain people are put together to move big poundages. On top of that, certain people are just flat out stronger, okay? You got to put all that out of your mind, and you have to deal with who you are, okay? You have to take your skeletal system, and you have to look at where your insertions are, where your elbow, where your shoulder, everything, the hips, and say, I'm going to build my program around full range of movement. Your flexibility will go through the roof, okay? There's all these asides that happen when you actually do a full movement. Then, as you get along, you can fit in these pulses and some of these short movements, parallel squats as opposed to full squats. You can add in some of the nuances, the negative part of a lift. For instance, if you're doing pull-ups, okay? If you do the negative part of a pull-up, it's incredible. If you do it 3 or 4 times slower than your actual pulling up. So there are many, many tricks that you can play on your muscles, but you have to build your base on building the entire muscle, whatever you're working, if it's biceps, thighs, whatever, shoulder presses, you can't shorten the movement, okay? You do a dumbbell shoulder press, that dumbbell's got to come down here. You can't do dumbbell presses and go like this. Well, you're not getting to the 3 heads of the deltoid, okay? You're getting mostly triceps, okay? Squats, whatever you do, you get the most range out of the way you're put together. And that comes down to, as we say, leaving your ego at the door, understanding leverages. You'll be built better for certain lifts than other lifts, and understanding that true strength is having complete muscle developed from top to bottom, okay? So your range of motion, put that in your playbook. You gotta go full range of motion as your main thing, and then you can fill in the other stuff as you get some training behind you. Okay, we'll see you Monday with another show. Good to see you.